Just tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa. Just tell Vanessa now, tell Vanessa now. Just tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Tell Vanessa. I'm your host Vanessa Cruikshank, and today we have another fun-filled show for you where current affairs meets reality talk. Each and every week we cover an interesting topic or debate, highlight a community issue or business, and then you tell me your dilemmas. Then we finish with some good music. So for the next 30 minutes, sit back, relax and enjoy Tell Vanessa.
Just tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa.
Nigel Stewart, director for the Centre of Pan-African Thought, recently wrote an article entitled "Why Caribbeans Struggle to Identify as African." The title in itself is quite controversial. I myself thought we'd moved on from that kind of thinking. I do remember as a child if someone was called African from the Caribbean, they would have been offended, but that was 30 years ago. I know I'm showing my age. But today, when so many people identify as just Black British, whether they're directly from the Caribbean or African, is this really an issue or just a divisive topic? Here to discuss is the author of that article, Nigel Stewart. Hello, Nigel.
Good evening.
Why did you even think to write an article like this?
Oh wow, that's a really, really good question. Many reasons. First of all, you got to understand that the heart of Pan-Africanism is the idea that we unify together. We unify for a common cause. And unity is difficult to achieve if you don't see yourself in the other person. So if you don't identify as African, like many Caribbean people don't, then how can you sit around a table to discuss and resolve issues in Africa for African people? So that's the first thing. The article really explores deeply why some Caribbean people reject their African identity, why they reject the Afro or the African
yeah.
in Caribbean.
I'm thinking of, I went backpacking in Ethiopia, for example. And
So did I.
Did you?
Yeah.
And I remember going to Shashamane and all the Caribbeans that had actually settled there from Jamaica. Yeah. And I know they were mainly Rastas, but there's still a large settlement there. But I also meet a number of people now from the Black Caribbean community who actually have gone to Africa, settled, built houses, built really successful, thriving businesses there. So that was why I was asking whether it's a divisive topic now.
Whether it's divisive in the sense of whether it's relevant, you mean? Well, I mean, look, we still have problems here today. We still have issues as Black people. We're still suffering. We're not winning. We have to realise that. And speaking to the generation above me, speaking to the younger generation as well, the term Black British doesn't mean anything. If you say to them, listen, what does Black mean? Are you African? A lot of them will say no, even though their parents are born in Africa. So this kind of thinking is one that I wanted to explore in the article, especially for young people. Yeah.
So I just want to ask you, you're the director and founder of the Centre for Pan-African Thought.
That's right, yeah.
Tell me and the viewers exactly what that's all about.
What about education? Quite simply, what we want to do is we want to mainstream African consciousness. We want to give young people a chance to look into their history and learn and understand some things about themselves that aren't taught in their schools, aren't taught in society. We want to really highlight some of the key figures in our history, people like Henry Sylvester Williams, for example, George Padmore. These are the forefathers of Pan-Africanism. And these are the people that have been trying to solve our problems and bring solutions in our community from the early 19th, 20th century, in the 1900s.
So let me play devil's advocate, because I know that many people will be thinking, and from many different ethnicities as well as Black people, and they'll be thinking along the lines of, why is a centre for Pan-Africanism needed? Is it relevant? Is it current today?
Well, is it relevant? Yes. Is it current? Time will tell, because our success with quite a new company, our success will be told in time to come. But relating that to your travels, I travel a lot, you've travelled a lot.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, if you don't have a centre, you're lost. You get lost. You can't travel anywhere. Using that as a metaphor and find your way around. So having a centre and relating that to you, being your essence, being your core, the centre of yourself, being Pan-Africanism, that was the philosophy. And that's what we want to do. We want people to come together on this platform to learn and inspire together. And that's where the idea of a centre comes in. And that's not something that we have.
I do remember when I was studying for my MBA, and I was doing my dissertation, I was looking for research on black businesses, success or failure.
Exactly.
And I remember when I was doing the literature review, I couldn't find any articles. Everything was from America, so I couldn't. So I do think that this is a good idea, especially from an academic point of view, that if you're looking for actual articles. So is that why you decided to set up as well?
I mean, listen, I was the same. I grew up in a European education system where what we are taught in the textbooks is misinformation almost. You could argue miseducation in some perspectives. Black History Month doesn't really delve into Black history.
I know.
And for me growing up, I didn't have access to this knowledge. My parents didn't teach me this knowledge, but this knowledge is crucial for self-pride. This knowledge is crucial for us to understand who we are.
But we're now grown up in the age of Google. When I did my research, Google wasn't so advanced. Google is advanced now. You can search and find anything that you want on the internet. So how are you going to ensure,
Vanessa,
how are you going to ensure, no,
search?
let me finish. How are you going to ensure that you're current, that you maintain relevancy?
How we're going to do that is by engaging with some of the thought leaders in our field. So if you came to one of our last debates, we had people like Kehinde Andrews, who just started the first Black Studies course in Birmingham, or will be.
Okay.
We had people like Professor Addy, who's a historian in Pan-Africanism. So we engage with these people. These people are close to us so we can make sure that we're relevant, historically accurate, and what we produce, the content we produce, is palpable and really engaging for our audience. But let me come back to you on Google, because doing a Google search doesn't mean anything. As far as information can take you so far.
Okay.
But what can you do with that information? Where's the wisdom? What does it mean? How does that translate into my everyday life and my everyday experience? So going back to the article about why Caribbeans struggle to identify, what that explores is how to then try to change your mindset into thinking African, being African and doing African, and splitting what is your national identity against your racial identity, or as opposed to your racial identity.
Explain a little bit more, go a little bit into depth.
I really want to drive that point very strongly.
Go on.
There's a very big difference between your racial identity and your national identity.
Okay.
So yes, proud to be British, proud to be Brazilian, proud to be wherever you're from in that context.
Okay.
But that's your national identity. That's the culture in which you grew up. That's the society. But never forget your essence. Never forget your core. Never forget the Afro in Afro-Caribbean.
Or
and
the African, rather than
well,
Afro.
it denotes
Yeah.
African, exactly. And that's the source of our pride. That's the source of our consciousness. And delving into that history and that term is very, very important for our racial esteem.
Okay. At the Centre for Pan-African Thought, you've got a lot of debates taking place, and you know how much I like debates. One of them is quite controversial. Why is religion relevant to African people? That's the topic, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And especially when in the African Caribbean community, membership in the church is growing and growing and growing. Why
Correction. Is it though? I think the recent studies have shown it's declining actually. I read an article in The Guardian saying the Christian numbers
Yeah, the Christian numbers are declining, but the
where is the decline happening?
But the African membership has grown.
I'm not so sure about
No,
that.
it has. Yeah,
I'm not so sure.
I can tell you about a church that I know, for example, who started off with 5,000 members. Yeah, they've actually now moved to Kilburn and taken over a complete theatre where they can have 10,000 people in their church. And they're full. They're actually full each week. Yeah? So they've actually spent how many millions and bought acres of lands to do other stuff.
Well, listen, we need to have this debate because it's in our essence and in our core.
Yeah.
If you talk about having an African consciousness, Spirituality is part of our consciousness. That's one thing we've got to resolve. I was recently in Nigeria, churches everywhere, mega churches. But in terms of the history and the legacy of religion, we need to ask the question where this has taken us. Because I know people who have been Christians for 10, 20, 30 years, still with the same struggles. It's absolutely deplorable that they're going to church every week, doing the same things over again, believing for a change in their lives, and nothing has happened. So we need to get to the root of that.
Is that anything to do with the church? It could actually be to do with the mindset of the individual, not
well,
actually
it could be,
the church.
But it could be to do with the philosophy and the consciousness that they're taught also. And historically, we need to correct certain things as well. So we need to look at what was in place before, when we were African people ruling the earth. What was our spiritual practice? What did it look like? What did it feel like? What did our ancestors think about God before these ideas, these European ideas, were introduced into our society? So that debate answers that question.
So who have you got coming on the debate?
I can't tell you that now. Come on now. But however, you will not be disappointed. We have the most preeminent scholars coming to that panel. Believe me, you will not want to miss that, because we've got guys with decades of research, people who've done TV shows, written reference books, coming to debate. So when you leave, you will absolutely have all the facts in front of you to make the decision, is religion good for African people?
Well, I'll definitely be there at that debate.
I hope so.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to get more information about coming to your debates or the Centre for Pan-African Thought, what do they need to do, Nigel?
They need to hit panafricanthought.com. They need to hit Twitter, PanAfricanUK, using the hashtag debate, listen and grow.
Okay.
I believe it is. Excuse my social media team if that's wrong. We're on Facebook as well, Centre Pan-African Thought. Tons of information, amazing articles. We do amazing research. We go deep into the issues. We're not a surface organisation. So some of the topics might tickle you, they might prick, but they're there to help you learn and open that as a reference point for you to really go deeper and study for yourself. And that's what we want the centre to be.
Well, I've really enjoyed speaking to you. It's been interesting. I'd like to thank you for coming on to the show today.
Pleasure.
Okay, thank you, Nigel.
Take care.
Just tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa. I need a plumber and a gardener too. An electrician who can work for you. What do I want? I need a trader.com. What do I want? I need a trader.com.
Looking for a plumber or a gardener or searching for a trader in your area? Then go to ineedatrader.com for all your trade needs under one roof. ineedatrader.com.
I need a plumber and a gardener too. An electrician who can work for you. What do I want? I need a trader.com. What do I want? I need a trader.com.
Looking for a plumber or a gardener or searching for a trader in your area? Then go to ineedatrader.com for all your trade needs under one roof. ineedatrader.com.
Just tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa.
Each week we highlight a community issue or business, and this week we're with director and founder of Vital Munch, Myrna, who's here to show us about her Caribbean vegan cooking. So, good evening, Myrna.
Good evening, thank you for having me.
That's okay. So we're going to be doing some live cooking here now.
We are.
Yeah.
I have some mini manufaa, which is a kumut flatbread with coconut as well. So it's served with portobello mushrooms as well as ackee as well, and it's highly nutritious. So we've got soursop as well as moringa and other herbs as well.
We've heard a lot about moringa on this show.
Yeah.
So you want me to help you do some cooking?
I do.
What would you like me to do today?
I want you to focus on the portobello mushrooms.
Okay.
Okay, well I'll focus on the ackee.
Okay.
To begin with, we just got some shallow water boiling, and this is an alternative to oil.
Okay.
As an alternative to oil, we've got some herbs. So if you just can put like a little bit of these herbs in there, you just pour, and you can just do other ones as well. We'll just take some out.
Okay. And what herbs is that?
This is raspberry.
Oh, okay.
This is raspberry herb. And these are safe as well, also like for people who are pregnant as well. So I'm pretty much selective with my herbs. Yeah, and this one is lemon balm, which keeps you calm. It takes away any infections from the body as well.
Okay,
yeah.
So I can see it boiling away nicely here.
Yeah, it's doing a very good job of doing so. So what we're going to do is, you're going to put some pink Himalayan salt in it, just a little bit.
And what does this do?
That is actually good for the bones, in fact.
So how much do you want me to put in?
Just half a teaspoon.
Yeah?
Yeah, ooh, a little bit, that's it,
yeah.
No more than that. Okay, so before I actually peels this portobello mushroom,
okay, and
you're just going to just pop it in.
Okay, yeah. So just straight in, yeah?
Just straight in.
Okay. All of it?
Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, we'll do.
Now what you could do is just add some onions as well. Yep, careful. Okay. Now when you're done, I take the tongs and just put some onions in here.
Okay.
And what you can do also...
Is that enough onions? Yeah.
Or you can go for a bit more. Let's put some more onions in there.
Okay.
Like that. And what you can do, you can stir that up for me. Just stir that up for me. And if it gets a little bit too dry,
yeah,
we've got some coconut oil, so you can just pour that in. So just pour it a tiny bit in there.
And what's that coconut oil?
Virgin coconut oil.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
Set that there. We can also turn this down if it's a little bit too high. That's it, perfect, perfect, perfect. And also let's just add in some turmeric as well in there.
So you also have a delivery service where
we do.
You deliver this across London, is it?
We do. So we're starting off with next day delivery
okay.
for Londoners only. And we have done so, and it's been fantastic. It's been a really good time. You know, people love the food. Even people who eat meat,
yeah.
They go, you know, I want to be vegan. So that's been very achievable for.
So why did you decide to do this? What made you get into it?
Oh, I was so fed up with going to supermarkets and not being able to eat properly during my lunchtime hours. And there's no options for vegans out there, or people who want to eat clean.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you decided to do vegan Caribbean food?
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, that's all I know. That's all I know. And I love Caribbean food. Not just Jamaican food, but I love all kinds of different Caribbean foods. So I like to put that into my menu.
So, everything's turned off now and we're just going to be plating it up. So how do we eat this?
Okay, we can eat it with our hands, however, there's quite a lot on the plate, so let's use a knife and fork.
All right.
Okay, after you. See, this is a very popular dish. Usually we do a much bigger one, so this is a mini manufaa, and it's been very popular during our deliveries. So yeah, let me try. Go through.
It's delicious.
Thank you.
It's really nice.
Thank you. You helped.
If you want to find out more information about Vital Munch, the information's on the screen. Thank you so much, Myrna.
Thank you for having me.
Just tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa.
We've got a really good dilemma for you this evening. I'm 39 and I'm desperate for a baby, but my partner of 3 years, who is the best man ever, has only recently announced that he doesn't want to eat kids. And that's because he already has 2 children and he's not involved in their lives because the mum moved abroad just before we met. I feel that he's waited for the last possible moment to tell me this, and I'm beginning to feel resentment. What should I do? I would be concerned anyway about a man that isn't involved in his children's life, regardless of whether they live overseas or not. But in answer to your question, if children are really important to you and he knew about this before the 2 of you got together, you need to decide what your next move is, as resentment in any relationship festers and eventually becomes a volcano. He has got legitimate reasons for not wanting to have children, but he knew about this situation before the 2 of you got together. You need to talk to this guy seriously and find out where his head's at before another 3 years goes by and nature takes the decision out of your hands. If this guy's adamant, then you need to decide, children or this relationship. Some people are perfectly happy without kids, but you don't want to regret the sacrifice later on down the tracks. So think carefully, your next move, what is it going to be? But like I say every week, this is just my advice. Let's hear what they say on the streets.
Just tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa.
Well, I think the only solution to this is couples therapy, because no one else can actually tell you how to fix your marriage. I mean, you still need to talk to him personally and, ask him why he's doing this now, because there may be another reason. But, couples therapy is the only thing. No one can actually tell you the exact solution.
This one, I don't see how it can kind of work out properly, because a couple of issues you've mentioned, like I said, you want to have kids and he doesn't. He's had the kids already and it's ended badly with him not getting to see said kids and things like that, which is going to kind of not want to be like sort of repeated in a way. But also you're 39, not 19. Teenagers can get pregnant at the drop of a hat. In fact, you probably get lots of immaculate conceptions when they're actually at third base. 39, that's a lot harder kind of stuff to occur, which is why people are talking IVF and all the rest of it. Really, this should have been sorted out when you started going out kind of stuff, not kind of just leaving and expecting the guy to want to be the same as you. You need to do a lot of talking over this and trying to suss out really kind of what you want. It might be a case of you need to be with somebody different and he needs to be with somebody different.
I would say if he loves you, he will eventually compromise with you. So just wait and see. Stay with him or leave him. Do what you think is best for you.
Just tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa.
I hope you take our advice on board. Like I say every week, a problem shared is a problem halved. So if you have a dilemma, email us here at dilemma@tellvanessa.com. We've come to the end of another great show. I'd like to thank all our guests and thank you for sending in your dilemmas. We're going to end the show this evening with another great act. She's brilliant. She's here. Essie. Thank you.
Country ain't free. That pigs don't fly and money don't grow on trees. But I would rather believe in a fairy tale. I fell asleep and slept 100 years. I let go of all my hopes and my fears, 'cause I would rather believe in a fairy tale. Everybody's got a story to tell, secret life, a private hell. They spun a yarn they cannot sell, 'cause they would rather believe in a fairy tale. Take me away. They'll have no monsters or no dragons to slay, 'cause they would rather believe in a fairy tale. Everybody's got a story to tell, secret life, a private hell. They spun a yarn they cannot sell, 'cause they would rather believe in a fairy tale. Horses and men, they could not put me back together again. That's when they realized I was not one of them. Fairy tale,
Just tell Vanessa now, tell Vanessa now. Just tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa. Just tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa now.